What's up, everybody? And sooner or later, Mark, I'm just going to be able to say welcome, what's up, patrons of Most Valuable Podcast, because we're bringing it back. Much like I'm thinking of I want to think it's Clerks 2, where Randall is like, I'm bringing it back. We're bringing it back, Mark.
All right.
We're bringing back the patron podcast here on Most Valuable Podcast, and you might be thinking to yourself, Ricky, I'm not a patron. Why am I seeing this right now? We are making it free to everyone, the first one, because Mark and I just kind of wanted to kind of spitball to you guys, kind of talk to you guys, let you know what this is a little bit of what we're going to be doing. And I'm going to let you take over. I'm going to let you kind of explain this, because you explain it way better than I do. You're more of a wordsmith than I am.
Well, here's the thing about Patreon. So, in case anybody doesn't know, but I mean, if you're on YouTube, you probably know what a Patreon is at this point, because
Patreon.com/everybody Most Valuable Podcast.
Everybody and their mother has one of these things nowadays. So, and we've had ours for a while.
Quite a while.
Yeah, we've just always kind of neglected it in a little bit of a way. So, basically, everything that you guys get on YouTube is still there. Nothing goes away. Nothing is now behind a paywall. There's none of that. What the Patreon podcast is, because we have people that constantly ask, like, what can I do to support? So this is the answer to that question in a way. Not the only answer to the question. We can talk about that.
One of the answers.
Yeah, definitely a good answer. So this is a way where you can, every month, give us a certain amount of money that financially helps us reach other goals and make things happen. So, for example, when we bought the lapel mics, that was something we saved up the money for. You guys can't see it, but the fancy new camera that we have, that comes from this money. All that type of stuff. Any upgrades we do. We hit that green screen now. Things like that. So you guys can donate a little bit of extra if you want, and just to help us out with that part and help make things better. So that way when you see things and you're like, I really wish you guys had this. Like, I really wish you guys had a green screen. I wish we had a better camera. But wish you had better lighting, because that's up there. You can help us make that happen. So that's definitely there, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the individual things, the rewards, because the way Patreon works, you donate a certain amount, that gets you a certain tier. That tier gets you rewards. It's not like you're just donating money. We're not asking for that. This is an exclusive bonus podcast that. After this month, these will only be on Patreon. And there are Patreon podcasts back there already that you can check out. And you donate $1 a month and you get all of those. You get all of them. $2 a month. That was the MP3. $2 a month gets you the video and the MP3. And there's some other stuff that we'll talk about as well.
And really, just to give you guys kind of a little bit, because this one's more of us just talking about it, letting you guys know. I mean, one of the ones that are, and of course, this is something that we don't usually do on the regular podcast, where the December one from 2016, I'll just read the description. It might be a little raunchy for my normal YouTube fans, but this month on MVP Patreon podcast, Ricky Widmer, Sean Anderson, and Brandon Swanson discuss the girl from Toronto who put poop in her purse and classic funny stories. So that was kind of basically one of the topics we did. There was another one where we talked about Seinfeld and wrestling, and it's kind of we just talk about whatever, and it's just us to kind of express ourselves to you guys. There was one where I know, Mark, it is one of your least favorites, or probably your least favorite.
I don't like it.
Was when Dave, Sean, and I basically were on our phones the entire time Tindering and talking about that.
I would never tell people not to watch any of our stuff because I'm proud of things that we do. But that is my exception. Do not watch the Tinder one. I know Sean the other day was like, it was awesome. And I'm like, yeah, for you.
It was awesome to do. I don't know how it would be to watch it. I've never sat down and watched it.
Because I did. I sat down and I watched it. And I'm like, get off your phone. Get off your phone.
But that's one I would like to try again. We failed at I'll say it. We failed at it. I'd like to try that one yet again without you, because you can't.
It only really works.
Mark can moderate now.
I'll talk for you guys. I'll make it, because you're all going to be on your phones.
Yeah, Mark can't swipe anymore.
No, I think that the way that something like that would work is if you could actually see it yourself.
Like they did with the Hannibal Buress and, what's his name? Eric Andre.
You would
where
have to see it
him and
yourself.
Hannibal Buress. You could actually see him swiping left and right.
Yeah, I always thought it would have been fun.
You had the best, idea.
I
for
loved it back in my single days, my bachelor days.
Hey, we can take it, and one of us can use it. Just because you can't, one of us can.
And no offense, but as Sean said, well, we got to get matches first.
Yeah, exactly.
But my idea was that I really wanted to have a live show where I was on Tinder, swiping right, swiping left, and based on what you guys said, the people who come
Swipe
in
left or swipe
tell
right.
me to swipe right or left, and then any matches, once again, comment section tells me what I'm going to say. And it would go horribly, and people would hate me, and I would get a lot of unmatches, I'm sure.
That could be a
But
live.
That's what I wanted to do.
That could be a live Twitch show for MVP.
That's what I wanted to do.
A live
yeah.
Twitch show.
But I
on
didn't
MVP.
have a good way to make it happen.
The MVP of Twitter or something like that, or Twitter's MVP,
Because it's not
or
like
Tinder's
Tinder.
MVPs.
It's not like Tinder has a website
Yeah.
or something.
No, it's not like that at all. But the one thing I want to do is just kind of let you guys know. I want to run through the rewards really quick because we consolidated our rewards. We only have 4 of them for you guys. Like this Patreon podcast, there's 2 rewards. Like Mark said, you're not just donating. It's like, hey, give us your money. No, you're actually getting something. So for $1 a month, it's this podcast, but just the audio. For $2 a month, it's the video to that podcast. So you get the audio, but for $2, you get the video. Then at the $5 tier, we have Ask MVP, where basically each month, once we kind of build up the people in that tier, we're going to start doing a monthly Q&A video where it'll be for everybody. Everyone will see the Q&A video, but the questions will only come from patrons that'll be submitted through the specific patron feed that only us and our patrons can see behind that wall. And then the very last one, this is the one I'm most excited for because I know we've done it in the past and I had fun doing it. The $10 tier, be a calling guest, where basically you get your choice of what podcast you want to be on. Could be the Fast Break, could be the Onside Kick, could be the Rick and Johnny podcast. Not only are you on that podcast, you get to pick the topic. So one of the topics, you're the one. You pick the topic, you drive the conversation for the guys and kind of be involved in that show. And that's it. Those are the 4 tiers that we've
Now-
kind of consolidated down to.
And we've gone back and forth on this, so I would love to know some thoughts down below.
Okay.
About playing a game with the Patreon people.
Like live streaming.
Yeah. So we'll segue into that a little bit. Something we're going to be doing that we might already be doing by the time you're watching this, depending on when this goes up, and when you're watching it. We're going to be doing, and I got to say it slowly because you know what I love to say.
You love to say Final Fantasy.
I love to say Final Fantasy. I love Final Fantasy games. We're going to do a Final Fantasy football live stream where we're going to be playing some Madden. Madden 18's coming out on Friday. Some people already have it, but whatever. So that's going to be coming out on Friday, and we're going to be streaming that and answering questions for your fantasy football teams. And, who should you start? Who should you sit? Trades? I don't know, whatever. Whatever questions you guys have, we'll be there to answer. We'll be there to help out. Now, something that we have talked about and we would love to do is with our patrons, live stream, but play something with them, like Overwatch or something like that, where you're playing the games with them.
Now, here's the thing that I have kind of gone back and forth on because there's different channels that do it one way, different ones do it another way. And the thing I'm thinking of is it's something where it's like, hey, if you're in this tier, we're going to play a game with our patrons, but it's just us in the live stream, where it's just us as a community. No one else can see it. It's just us hanging out, playing the game, having a good time. Or is it, hey, the monthly live stream, we're all playing together, but Joe Schmo, who isn't getting the Patreon, can see it and
like
be a
that
part of
better.
it and watch it.
Yeah, I like the idea of everybody being able to play. I don't like keeping too many things away from people. Obviously, something like Patreon, obviously people are buying into an exclusive podcast or other stuff that might be up there. So I get that part. I like people being able to see it still, because then in that case, the reward is that you are getting to play. So that's why I like that. And Yeah, that's what I think. And, you know, right now we don't have that as a specific tier. So I kind of feel like at this point, if you're a patron, you know, give us your gamer tag or whatever.
Yeah.
PSN network thing.
Yeah, not gamer tags, PSN names. Come on.
Yeah. I always will
no
say
Xboxes
I will
here.
always say gamer tag, even though
We do-
I play PS4.
We do have an Xbox guy now at MVP though.
I own an Xbox One.
Johnny is an Xbox guy.
I own an Xbox One. The games I have, the Halo collection, the Master collection.
Naturally.
I have
Gears of War.
no, not Gears of War. I didn't do when they came out with that. I have Skyrim on it
Okay.
because of
Never
the
got into
mods.
Skyrim.
I love Skyrim. And what is the
Were you
the
also
zombie game?
the zombie game?
Yeah, the one that was a
Call of Duty.
no. It was like a big deal when it first came out, and it's like I don't know. I'm describing it terribly.
Left 4 Dead.
No, not Left 4 Dead. I'm talking about Xbox One.
Yeah, Left
new
4
one.
Dead's Xbox One.
Not an Xbox One?
Is
You
it?
look it up. No, that Left 4 Dead's old. Old. But anyways, it was you kind of found this little town.
Zombie Army.
And the whole thing was that you were constantly having things happen. Even when you weren't playing,
Dead Nation.
zombies were still doing stuff. I'm ignoring
Dead
things because
Island.
it's not right.
Dead Rising.
No, none of those. Xbox One exclusive, and they were just coming out with the second one sometime soon. I don't even remember it. This is not.
Wolfenstein.
No, this is not that interesting. But I do have Wolfenstein, not for Xbox One.
7 Days to Die.
No.
I'm just looking at Darksiders. I'm basically Dead Rising.
Darksiders is State of Decay.
Okay.
There you go.
The Evil Within.
No, I didn't really care for the Evil Within.
I never
gave it a fair shot.
I never got like zombies. It's like fuck it. I'll just play Call of Duty Zombies for a little bit.
All right, so we're gonna get into this now. I have very strong opinions about Call of Duty Zombies.
Okay. It's not the greatest.
It's not. It hasn't been for a long time.
Since like the first time they ever did it.
Yeah. Here's the thing. So World at War was not that great of a game. But I remember the day I was in high school, and one of my friends was like, "Have you beaten it?" No,
Have you beaten it?
I didn't beat it. I haven't had it for like 2 days. And like, no, you have to beat it because Nazi zombies. And I had no idea what this meant. This meant nothing to me. So
You have to beat it.
yeah.
Because of Nazi zombies.
But we all go home, and then there was one guy, Drew, who had beaten it, and he was like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna go on when you get home. I'm gonna invite everybody, and we're gonna play Nazi zombies." No clue what's going on. So I get there, I get home. We're playing on Xbox 360, and he invites us, and this is like mind blowing to me that this thing is hidden and it doesn't exist, and then there it is. So it was awesome. That first map was so simple. And the thing I loved about the original games, they did have some things that started to get a little complicated, but it basically was a load up, and then it's, similar to like your tower defense or something like that. You get in a corner, you sit there, you kill zombies. And there was tactics, you tried to get a crawler so that way you could go and you could reload and stuff like that. But you basically loaded up and hoped for the best. And they made it a little bit complicated. The first map ever was awesome. The second one was okay. Third one was a lot of fun, but meh after the fourth one. The fourth one was the best with the teleporter and stuff.
and this is all from World at War.
Yeah, World at War was awesome.
My
for
favorite,
that.
my favorite one, and I don't think this is World at War. I think this was one of the later ones. But it was the one where it's basically you start out in a small area, and then it's like you start out in a small room, and you have 2 guns that you can buy, either like a machine gun or an M1 Grand. And then basically it's like, okay, I've got enough points. Let me buy the next area. And then you get to a courtyard, and there's an elevator that you can buy. And then basically it was just, hey, I'm making the map bigger and bigger, and I've got to survive, and I got to keep going.
Well, that's kind of always how they were. I don't remember the elevator courtyard. But that's kind of always how they were themed. I mean, I really love the first one because it was like you had this, you had the room to the side, and you had the room above you. And that was basically it. And like I said, things got more complicated. Later, fourth map is probably the greatest one they ever did. But then after that, it just kind of got, I think Black Ops was the next one that had it. And they just started going for themes and they were getting complicated, and they were really into that story that they had, which was always kind of not. Always seemed like they didn't really have a story, but they put enough in it to just kind of fuck with your head. And yeah, they just killed it. When there was so much extra stuff going on, and now Nazi Zombies to me is literally just run and gun. That's all it is. There's never really a good spot where you can just sit and camp. And to me, that killed it. Plus, this is also going back a little bit. So, if in case you wanted to know how big of a nerd some of us in this room can be at times. So, this is high school. My group of 4 friends, Dave and Gianluca, who were both in my wedding party with you. And then another guy, Drew, who I mentioned before.
Not Dave Oster, by the way.
Yeah, not Dave Oster. That's a different guy. This one is a doctor. So that's just a little.
Dr. Dave.
Yeah, Dr. Dave. So we would literally all have a LAN party essentially. We would bring our Xbox 360s.
All in one room, connect them all together.
We would
Hell
all
yeah,
bring
baby.
a TV
Hell
with
yeah.
us.
Hell
So
yeah.
Dave had a big flat screen. Gianluca had a medium-sized one. Drew had one. And I had a little, 10-inch TV. It was a big old cube. That was the thing that I got after my first communion. And my first communion, whenever that is, like first grade or something. I got
grade,
this little TV. I took it with me to college. Ended up doing that. So I had it for a long time. And I would bring this little crappy thing. And we would sit in a room, turn the lights off, and play Nazi Zombies forever.
You had to turn the lights off.
Yeah.
You had
forever. And that's the kind of thing where I love to play games online and stuff like that, but nothing will ever match. Maybe it's nostalgia, but nothing will ever compete. Nothing will ever match with just sitting there in a dark room at 2 a.m. with my, 3 of my best friends at the time, playing Nazi Zombies, getting as high of a level as we can, and then being like, oh, damn it, Dave, why did you decide to get that gun?
Yeah.
That was the worst gun you could have. You had great guns, and then you decided to trade one at the random box. Things like that. I mean, it was awesome.
Because you had to go for the random box because you had the chance to get the zapper gun.
Yep. And then you get that one time where you get 2 people with the alien ray gun. Oof. Nothing is ever gonna.
It's just game over. From
Nothing
there.
is ever gonna get to that point.
Mine
the best.
Mine was similar. We did do the LAN parties. Usually it was, hey, let's go over to Dave's because really we could just stay up all night and everything. And plus, his walls weren't as paper thin as mine for the basement to upstairs. But yeah, we'd go over with TVs, hook them up to our system. The 2 games that we really did were, one was a GameCube game, and really it was called Phantasy Star Online.
Yeah, you
I don't know
guys
if you've
loved
ever
that.
played that, where it was a great just kind of RPG, like you build a character level 1 and you play them all the way and you level up and you go through their story. But the thing I loved about it, you get to the end, you beat the game, okay, now we unlocked hard mode. Then you unlocked very hard mode, and each time you go up, the drops get better, and you get chances for secret weapons and better weapons that were little red cubes on the ground.
Yeah.
Then you got ultimate mode. Guess what happened in ultimate mode? The enemies completely changed. They were completely different. So it felt like you always I got to get to ultimate mode and beat it. The other game we did that with, World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I would just bring my whole desktop over, hook it up, and be like, "Hey, you know what? Where's the Mountain Dew? Where's the Cheetos?"
That's some dedication.
Playing
to
Mountain
a whole
Dew.
desktop.
That's how it used to be.
Yeah.
When I was in college, it was my laptop. But when I first started in what was I? I think a sophomore. When I got into World of Warcraft, it was the original. And it was, Dave got me into it because Dave's brother played it. Dave has 2 older brothers. His middle brother got him into it. Dave's like, dude, you got to play this game. And I played it on his, and I'm like, I got to get this game.
Yeah.
Worst decision of my high school career. Loved the game, had great times playing it, but really my social life just was like, shit, we're going to die now, right?
Yeah.
He's just going to kill. He's putting a gun to his head and killing his social life.
I was never a big MMORPG kind of guy, or MMOs in general.
The thing that people I get that everyone doesn't like it. The thing that made it the best are the people you find it. If you find a community in the
friends.
game, then you're good.
Yeah, and I'm such a kind of solo player, single player person.
You're a lone wolf.
I really kind of am.
Flip down those sunglasses.
I did love things like
Lone Wolf Mark Webber.
like Red Dead Redemption, that online mode, which kind of led to GTA Online, which is too much. The thing that was amazing about Red Dead Redemption's online was, sure, you had these little games, these mini games type of things you can play and these missions you can do, but really it was just like, I think it was like 6 to 8 people in a map just fucking with each other. Like, you're trying to do something, and someone just comes up behind you and shoots you. Like, it was just that. And then GTA Online, they kind of made it where you shoot somebody, oh, your insanity rating goes up, or, oh, you stole a car and the cops are after you now. It just ruined it. It ruins the fun. The wild chaos is what makes that fun. But the moral of the story, that I really don't know how Xbox One and all this
how the
happened.
zombie games got us onto this.
The moral of the story is that we're going to do some live streaming.
We are.
That's the game plan. We're gonna
Twitch.tv / Most Valuable Podcast, I believe. Or just look up Most Valuable Podcast on
follow
Twitch.
us on there. Follow us on there so that way you know when we're playing things. We're doing it on Twitch because we know a lot of these people are on Twitch. We used to be on Twitch anyways, so we're kind of going back to it.
And what we're thinking about is how we're going to do it is like the fantasy football show.
Yeah.
I said that.
Yeah, we're
right.
going to play Final Fantasy.
For a second, I thought I said Final Fantasy, but the fantasy football show, it'll be a Friday. I think we're thinking, 6 to 8, kind of.
Well,
it's basically 2 games. We're playing 2
probably
games.
Starting more likely at 7, I would guess.
Okay, 7. We'll get the time. We'll tweet out the time.
I quite probably wouldn't get home from work.
True. So, let's say it's 7. Like maybe 7 to 9, but really we're playing 2 games. We're answering questions. We're talking to fans about fantasy football. Like it'll air that Friday, and then boom, on Saturday, it's on the YouTube channel. So in case you didn't catch it live, it'll be on the YouTube channel the next day. And then kind of we want to do more with the live streaming. Like Dave mentioned, like, hey, do you guys mind if I fucking jump on like at a random day? And I said, no, more the merrier.
Yeah,
but eventually we want to have a live stream scheduled, keep some consistency for you guys so that you guys know, okay, this is a day MVP streaming. I got to stream it.
And it's the kind of thing, too, where it's like, let us know the games that you guys want to see. We had Let's Plays on the channel beforehand. You and I both doing that.
I did the Arkham.
Yeah, we had streamed live on Twitch before.
MLB The Show.
And people always liked it. People always enjoyed it. It's just the kind of thing where, priorities happened and we put it back a little bit.
It's called being an adult a little bit.
Yeah, we want to bring it back forward now and do stuff again for you guys. And especially having... Before it was just you and I doing it, but now having more people that are on board to do it too, that certainly helps out.
Back then, that was before we had Sean, we had Mark, we had Dave was long gone because Dave was taking the hiatus. You know what I meant?
Yeah.
Brandon wasn't there, Sean wasn't there, Dave was in his hiatus, under house arrest. That's a throwback joke to the first ever fast break of the current lineup that we have right now. But doing live streams, this Patreon, bringing that back and kind of promoting it and really having a consolidated plan. Like that's my key word for this, consolidated. Only 4 rewards.
Keep it simple, yeah.
We're going to keep it simple and really kind of use our patrons also as kind of, how do I want to put this? Basically screeners as well. If we're thinking about something, we want to ask people, we're going to, like the patrons that are there, we're going to just kind of ask them first and kind of get their response to things. And the one thing I forgot to do this early on, I want to thank the people that did support us early on because we have 2 patrons right now. Brandon Swanson's one of them, so he doesn't count. He just likes to give to MVP to support the channel that he's a part of. But Zani Washington, I gotta love Zani because he's even commented and said, yeah, you know what? I gave you X amount of dollars. I don't even care about the reward. You guys do great. Here you go. So thank you. But also thanks to guys like Steve Maves and Trevor Kenny who have really just, you might not support us anymore, but you did support us at one time. And we're so grateful for that. And we're grateful for however you guys support us. And this is just one way we want to take the next step. And this is how it's one way to help us get to a next step. And we're going to have consolidated goals that you guys can see, okay, at this much, this is what they're going to get. And when we hit that goal, you guys will see that goal and be like, hey, you know what? These guys ain't shitting around. They're not bullshitting us taking our money.
Yeah, and I think I like that you mentioned, being able to test things on Patreon a little bit too with people that we know are supporting or that we trust a little bit in that. But a big thing too is what I would love to be able to have is this group on Patreon where we can kind of just do random things to give them a little bit of extra. I mean, if someone were to do a Let's Play, if someone were to just do a random segment or something like that, to be able to just throw it on Patreon is like we don't really care if this gets views or not. Just here you guys go, enjoy something nice. And whether it's behind the scenes type of stuff or whatever, I definitely want to give people who are on Patreon the bang for their buck, essentially. But also it's just the idea of, and I know that not everybody can support financially, but thank you guys to who can do that and who are willing to do that, because I know what it's like to have a lot of bills and have to take care of these things first. I mean, especially as a person who is married, I would not be able to just say...
Fucking student loans too, man.
Well, yeah, but I would not be able to just say, hey, wife, I'm going to give some money where I want. Don't really worry about it. So I understand that things happen, but those people who do it, I want to give them a lot of stuff.
You saying you don't call all the shots, Mark? You're not calling all the shots?
Call it a partnership.
Yeah, call it a partnership.
Call it a partnership. There's lesson 1 to marriage. Don't assume you're going to make all the shots. Compromise. But yeah, and for people who can't do Patreon, that's perfectly okay. The ways that you can really help in that case are share. Yep. Share the videos on whatever social media you use. Tell your friends who like sports about it or like video games, whatever it might be. If you like it, I bet you have a friend who would enjoy our stuff too. And that's really what it comes down to, is just helping out with that and helping share some stuff. And that does a lot for us. It really does.
No, it really does. And I mean, this is is there anything really that we haven't hit that we need to hit in this one?
No, I mean, this is not really what a Patreon exclusive podcast would be like.
This is just our kind of intro. The zombie part is.
Yeah.
When we went off on that zombie tangent, that's more like what the whole thing would be, a random topic.
It's the idea of seeing us do something different.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll probably talk about sports every now and then, but, we're going to talk about movies, we're going to talk about books, we're going to talk about video games, we're going to talk about, dating, stuff like that.
Really anything that, because we're all people, just like you guys. We're all just human beings, and
some of us are people.
Some of us are aliens here at MVP. Yeah. Shh, don't tell the government. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for your support, whether it's through Patreon, whether it's through just watching our videos, sharing our videos, whatever you guys do to help us
rating and reviewing on iTunes. That's a huge one right there.
Yeah. So if you haven't done that, you can go ahead and do that. But I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, because I love doing this. And the
top of mine. And
the bottom of mine, top of yours. And the reason why I love doing it is because of you guys and everything that you guys bring to us each and every day. I want to thank you guys for the watching and or listening. And as always, have a good day, everybody.